The federal government has changed its controversial gun control legislation in Parliament. What we are hearing is that there are amendments to the firearms legislation. The amendment to Bill C-21 had proposed a legal definition of assault rifle guns, along with a list of more than 3,000 guns that would be prohibited. Of course, that decision initially caused quite a bit of controversy and pushback right across the country. CBC's Janice McGregor joins us now from Ottawa with an update on this. So Janice, what do you know?
Yeah, I think helpful for people to understand the backstory here. So C-21 legislation that actually did a number of things on the firearms front. Remember, the Liberals were bringing in measures to ban what they call assault-style weapons. They were also doing things on the handgun front. They had to get a buyback in place for the weapons that they were going to ban. There were a number of other measures related to sort of additional things they were going to do to kind of tackle the problem of smuggling guns. And that bill had a whole lot in it. It passed the House of Commons at second reading, and then it went to committee this fall for review. And during the clause-by-clause review at committee last November, a Liberal MP stepped forward and brought in an amendment. Actually, there were sort of two separate things that were sort of brought to the committee suddenly at that stage. One was a change in the definition of what kind of weapons would be banned, and the other was a huge, long list of all sorts of weapons that would be banned. This was very different than what had been originally presented to the House. This was not expected. There were firearms on that list of great concern because they were commonly used by Indigenous hunters, by non-Indigenous hunters, weapons you'd find on farms and in the north of this country and so on. And at that point, not just sort of the firearms advocates who had concerns about the bill to begin with, but others, the NDP, for example, several of their MPs that represent more north and remote communities, you know, thinking of people like Charlie Angus, for example, started speaking out about whether this was really fair. First Nations groups started sounding the alarm about how this would affect them and their ability to hunt in traditional ways if suddenly their weapons were banned. And the Liberals had a big problem on their hands then politically with this. So fighting happened at committee all through. They suspended just before Christmas. The whole thing was sent back for more consultations about how to fix this. Now today, they have stepped forward at Public Safety Committee, and a Liberal MP has asked the committee now to endorse this idea of pulling the list, pulling this new definition out. It's fair to say a climb down, something perhaps designed to allow the rest of the things that they were originally going to do with this legislation to move on through and get done, because they still want to do those things. But this is something, you know, one to watch, because how the Liberals are going to spin this, if you will, how Public Safety Minister Marco Mendicino is going to position this as something other than a climb down, what they are going to say to gun control advocates in Quebec that really wanted this amendment to happen and had strong reasons for why they thought the definition of what should be banned needed to be stronger because of concerns they had about loopholes in what would go through otherwise. Really a serious belief in this town, frankly, that this whole thing was mishandled, but now a climb down on the part of the Liberals, something I'm sure the Conservatives, when they walk out of this committee, are going to see as a big victory for them.